In this video, I have an extremely controversial and hot take. I believe that Julianna Peña can defeat Kayla Harrison. Now, I'm going to try to give my most unbiased breakdown of this matchup possible. Now, just as a disclaimer, I do not think she would beat Kayla. I would pick Kayla to win. She is the rightful favorite in this matchup, but should there be a world where, let's say, all goes according to plan and I get what I want, doubt it, where Peña gets the belt back from Raquel, but, you know how my luck is with my favorite fighter, so she'll probably lose that. But let's say she doesn't fumble the bag and she wins, and on the same night, Kayla Harrison defeats Ketlen Vieira. And then that lines up Julianna Peña to defend her belt versus Kayla early 2025. I want to make this video before the card simply because of the whole it's MMA, anything can happen factor. Like, what if Julianna loses, or what if Kayla loses to Ketlen Vieira, which is also very possible. Like, Ketlen and Raquel could mess up my plans, so I'm not going to wait till after UFC 307 to make this video. I'm going to make it right now. But why I think Julianna actually has a very, very good chance against Kayla, and a very underrated chance, in fact, is because unlike Holly Holm, Julianna Peña actually has a ground game. She actually has jiu-jitsu and Holly Holm does not. Holly Holm has good takedown defense, decent wrestling, but Julianna Peña has a good understanding of how to fight on the ground, how to defend herself on the ground, how to survive bad positions on the ground. And I think she has potential to mitigate damage off of her back against Kayla, defend submissions, and maybe weather the early storm against Harrison. And then another factor is cardio. Kayla Harrison, I know she's went to decisions before. She's won decisions before. She may have even won decisions over 5 rounds before, because I know she's fought Larissa Pacheco like 3 times, and the third time she lost by decision, but I think maybe one of them could have been a 5-round decision. I'm not too sure. I'm not saying Kayla has bad cardio, but with the weight she has to cut and all that muscle she carries, that could have a major impact on her gas tank. And we know that Julianna Peña is a cardio machine. So if Julianna Peña can get through the early rounds and they're in the 3rd and 4th round, I could see a world where Julianna is actually the fresher fighter of the two. And then that's going to lead to my next point, is the striking between the two. Now, I'm not saying Kayla has bad striking. I'm sure it's decent. She can box decently. She has decent fundamentals, but Julianna Peña's striking is not as bad as people think. In fact, her striking is actually very underrated. Okay? She was holding her own on the feet against Germaine de Randamie, who's, still the best striker in the women's bantamweight division, even now. Peña was landing good shots against Germaine standing, and against Amanda Nunes, I know, say what you want about the first fight, yeah, whatever, it was a fluke, she outstruck her in the first fight, okay? And in the second fight, in the first round, the striking was actually very competitive. It was very close. Like, before the knockdowns, Peña was actually doing pretty decent on the feet against the Lioness and still tagging her. And Julianna also has a very, very underrated jab that she was also doing good work with against Nunes in both fights. Not so much the second fight because of the southpaw stance, which did negate the jab, but she was still landing it in some moments. And you know what? Even after round 2 of the second fight, when Nunes dropped her a bunch of times, Peña was still doing okay on the feet. Outside of the knockdowns, Peña was still competitive in the stand-up against Amanda, who is a way more dangerous striker than Kayla. Mostly where Amanda Nunes dominated Julianna Peña, yes, was because of her power and wobbling her and dropping her in the first 2 rounds, but a big reason of why she was so dominant was the grappling. because she kept taking her down, holding her down, and then doing damage with ground and pound. That's what ultimately secured her the victory. But if that fight could have stayed standing, if Peña's takedown defense could have been better, Peña would have actually had better odds of turning the fight around and landing more volume and potentially winning herself a decision against Nunes just throughout striking her. That could have definitely happened, but it didn't. Nunes was the better fighter, okay? But I'm just saying, if she could have the striking success she did against Jermaine and Amanda, why not Kayla, whose stand-up is worse than those two? And I don't think Harrison is as comfortable standing as the Venezuelan vixen. Yes, Julianna may be very sloppy on the feet, but she's very effective. She's able to land, and she's got good sting behind her punches, and it does hurt when she does connect. She does have underrated power, and I just think she's the scrappier fighter of the two. She's more comfortable in brawls, creating messy exchanges in the stand-up, whereas Kayla likes to keep it perfect and technical, and I feel like the moment Julianna can start making the fight ugly in the striking is when she can actually start to take over. She can actually start to connect on Kayla and potentially hurt her and potentially do damage in the stand-up, and just gradually outpoints Kayla Harrison on the feet. But even if Kayla Harrison, despite being tired, is still able to get her takedowns because Peña's takedown defense just isn't all that, well, Julianna Peña off her back is still very effective. She's active from bottom, constantly working, constantly throwing strikes from off her back, constantly scrambling, and actively looking for submissions. And I could see a world where a tired Kayla takes her down, but then it isn't active. She's looking to rest, just looking to hold her down, while Peña's still out working her. So even through that, she could still win a round from off her back, while Kayla's doing nothing. But Kayla could also potentially get caught in a submission. A tired Kayla increases Julianna Peña's chances of submitting her in the late rounds. And off her back, she came very close to submitting Amanda Nunes with an armbar, and the fence saved Nunes. But if they're in the center of the octagon, Peña could finish that armbar against Kayla. Even against Valentina, Val was kind of saved by the bell when Julianna went for an armbar. So I could easily see Peña maybe getting an armbar or a triangle armbar sub on a tired Kayla Harrison. But if, let's say, they get through that fourth round, fourth round, Kayla survives, there's a chance that Kayla will have already lost rounds 3 and 4, and it'll be like 2-2 going to the fifth. Peña could still easily win round 5, same way she did the fourth, and just win a decision, a damage-based decision from doing more on the feet and doing more off her back after weathering the early storm, if she's not able to submit Kayla Harrison. But these are paths to victory I could easily see for the Venezuelan vixen. Now, like I said, I do believe that Harrison would defeat Julianna Peña. She would probably find a finish before it heads into the late rounds, or maybe she'll dominate the first 3 handily and maybe coast in the last 2 and still win a decision, more likely than not. But I'm just pointing out the possibilities, the chances that Peña does have against Kayla if this fight gets booked as Peña's very first title defense, getting the belt back. These are reasons to look out for. And Julianna Peña, we know, is going to be an underdog if these two do fight in this kind of setting, under these kind of circumstances. Kayla will be the favorite, and Julianna may just be a very good underdog pick. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Am I onto something, or am I just completely off? Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and peace out.